You found your way to Whispers of Crimes, a quiet corner where the shadows of the past are gently told. Here, we speak of real crimes and mysteries, not to shock or scare, but to wonder, to reflect, and maybe to help you fall asleep. So close your eyes, let your thoughts slow down, and come with me into tonight's case. Some stories stay with us forever. They echo through news cycles, across continents, deep into our collective consciousness. One such story is that of Madeleine McCann, a 3-year-old girl whose disappearance shattered her family, gripped the world, and left behind questions that, to this day, remain unanswered. This is the story of Madeleine McCann. Chapter 1, The Perfect Family Vacation Asterisk. For Kate and Gary McCann, the decision to take a short holiday with friends was meant to be a simple, joyful one. Both were busy professionals, Kate, a doctor, Gary, a cardiologist. Raising 3 small children, Madeleine and her younger twin siblings left little time for relaxation. So, in late April 2007, they packed up their lives for a brief escape to the Ocean Club Resort in Praia de Las, Portugal. The Ocean Club was picturesque, whitewashed walls, palm trees swaying lazily, and a sense of safety that came from being tucked into a small, quiet town. They weren't alone. A group of family friends and their children had joined, a group later dubbed by the media as the Tapas 7. Each evening, after the kids were put to bed, the adults would gather at the resort's tapas restaurant, situated just a short walk away. They established a routine. Every 20 to 30 minutes, someone would leave the table to check on the sleeping children. It was a rhythm built on trust. Trust in the environment, trust in the community. But in hindsight, it was a rhythm that left tragic gaps that someone else may have noticed. Chapter 2, The Night That Changed Everything, Thursday, May 3rd, 2007, started like any other day. Beach trips with swimming, games at the kids' club. Madeleine was full of energy, remembered as lively, talkative, and bright-eyed. That evening, the McCanns put their 3 children to bed around 7:30 p.m. Madeleine wore her favorite pink Eeyore pajamas. She fell asleep quickly, exhausted from the day. At 8:30 p.m., Kate and Gary joined their friends for dinner at the tapas bar. From their table, they couldn't see the apartment, but they felt close enough, safe enough. The first check-in happened around 9 p.m. All was well. At 9:30, another friend checked again, still quiet. At 10 p.m., it was Kate's turn. She entered through the patio doors, left unlocked for convenience, and immediately sensed something was wrong. The bedroom door, usually left ajar, was wide open. The window, which had been shut and shuttered, was now pushed up. The curtain fluttered in the breeze, and Madeleine's bed was empty. Panic gripped her instantly. Kate ran back to the restaurant, screaming, "They've taken her." The search began within minutes. Staff, guests, even local residents scoured the area with flashlights and shouted her name into the night. But those first hours, the most critical, were chaotic. No formal perimeter was set. Evidence was touched, trampled, moved. Leads grew colder with every passing minute. By morning, Praia de Las was no longer just a sleepy seaside town. It had become the epicenter of a nightmare. Chapter 3, The Global Media Storm. At first, the search was local. Posters in Portuguese, volunteers walking beaches and back streets. But soon, the McCann family's tragedy exploded onto the world stage. British newspapers seized on the story, a missing British child in a foreign land. Within days, Madeleine's wide-eyed photograph was everywhere, on lampposts, news broadcasts, websites. The McCanns launched a media campaign to keep her face in the public eye, believing visibility could be key to finding her. They made public appeals, appeared on television, and even met with high-profile figures, including the Pope, who blessed Madeleine's photo during a Vatican visit. Celebrities like J.K. Rowling and David Beckham pledged support. Football matches paused to observe moments of silence. Donations to the Fine Madeleine Fund surged into the millions. Yet, alongside the tidal wave of sympathy came a darker undercurrent: obsession, misinformation, and speculation. Every move Kate and Gary made was scrutinized. Why did they leave their children alone? Why did Kate seem so composed in interviews? Was Gary too analytical, too cold? Instead of being treated solely as grieving parents, they became characters in a sprawling, global drama, protagonists, antagonists, and victims all at once. The line between public support and public suspicion blurred, and Madeleine's story became a phenomenon bigger than anyone could control. Chapter 4: Twists, Turns, and Accusations ***. By the summer of 2007, the investigation was faltering. Portuguese police, under immense international pressure, faced increasing criticism for mistakes made in the early hours and days after Madeleine's disappearance. Desperation set in, leads dried up, witness statements conflicted, and then, in a shocking move, the Policia Judiciaria named Kate and Gary McCann as arguidos, formal suspects. The theory was grim, that Madeleine had died in the apartment and the McCanns had covered it up. It seemed to some like a neat explanation, fueled by the idea that forensic dogs had allegedly picked up scent of death in the apartment and the McCann's rental car. But the evidence was circumstantial at best. No body, no confession, no clear timeline. Nonetheless, the British tabloids ran wild. Headlines screamed accusations. Kate and Gary were painted as negligent, cold, even murderous. The court of public opinion was brutal, especially against Kate. In July 2008, the Portuguese Attorney General dropped the case, citing insufficient evidence. The McCanns were formally cleared, but by then, the damage to their reputations and their hearts had already been done. The case returned to a kind of painful limbo, neither solved nor truly cold. Chapter 5: New Leads, Old Wounds. The years after 2008 were marked by endless cycles of hope and heartbreak. Private investigators, some hired by the McCanns, others self-appointed, chased thousands of leads. Sightings of blonde girls fitting Madeleine's description popped up from Belgium to Morocco to Australia. Each one fueled a tiny spark of hope, only to be snuffed out by reality. In 2011, pressure from the McCanns and the British public led to Scotland Yard launching Operation Grange, a full-scale review of the case. Detectives uncovered new possibilities: that Madeleine might have been abducted during a botched burglary, that known sexual predators were active in the area, that witnesses had seen suspicious figures near the apartment. Yet, no matter how promising the lead, no matter how meticulous the search, Madeleine remained missing. Each May 3rd, her disappearance anniversary, became a national reminder of loss. Candlelight vigils were held, messages of support flooded in, and the McCanns, always composed, always dignified, repeated the same painful message: they would never stop searching. Chapter 6: A New Suspect Emerges. In June 2020, a major announcement reignited the world's attention. German prosecutors identified a new prime suspect, Christian Bruckner, a convicted sex offender who had lived in and around Praia da Las at the time of Madeleine's disappearance. Bruckner was already serving a prison sentence for unrelated crimes. Authorities claimed they had evidence he was responsible for Madeleine's death, though what that evidence was, they would not publicly reveal. The German prosecutor made a bold statement: "We are assuming that the girl is dead." The McCanns responded with a mix of guarded hope and lingering grief. After so many years, so many false leads, they knew better than to believe closure was imminent. Bruckner has consistently denied involvement. As of today, no formal charges have been brought against him related to Madeleine's case. Once again, the investigation hovered in painful limbo, answers just out of reach. Chapter 7, The Enduring Mystery. Madeleine McCann would be a young woman today to 22 years old. Over the years, forensic technology has improved. International cooperation has tightened. And yet, the core facts of the case remain heartbreakingly unchanged. A child disappeared. A family was shattered. A world watched, and still watches. In many ways, the story of Madeleine transcends itself. It's about the terror of randomness, the limits of justice, the resilience of those left behind. Kate and Gary McCann continue to live their lives quietly, raising their 2 remaining children, fighting quietly for answers, refusing to give up hope. And every so often, a new tip surfaces, a new whisper of possibility. Because when it comes to Madeleine, there is one truth that endures. Until there are real answers, her story and her face will never be forgotten. Asterisk, if you or anyone you know holds even the smallest piece of information that could help, please contact your local authorities. That's all for tonight's story. Another thread in the web of true crime, quietly unraveling as the night goes on. If you're still with me, thanks for listening. And if sleep has already taken you, may your dreams be peaceful and your mind at ease. I'll be here next time by the fire with another story waiting to be told. Good night, and don't forget to lock your doors.